It was the announcement that changed the outlook of future trade and draft periods. The official concessions given to the Tasmania Football Club were released. There are a lot of them and affect all other 18 clubs in what will be the most competitive and difficult 3 to 4 years to land the best players and draft prospects. The Devils have been handed the motherload of draft picks, will have plenty to trade with at their disposal, and have big money to woo the best players in the competition to go down south. Every AFL club should be fearing this period of time, but the best might be able to somehow win in deals despite the challenges that are incoming. Let's start with the headline $5 million sign-on bonus. The money can be used over the club's first 2 years with a maximum spend of $3 million for 1 year. Now, in the official AFL statement outlining these concessions, there was no minimum or maximum player limit mentioned. I'm guessing that means Derek Hine and Todd Patterson, the men in charge of building this initial list, can spend $3 million and then $2 million of the bonus on just 2 players, or split it between 5 or even 10 over that 2-year period. It's free reign, but obviously a huge part of getting that star or 2 to come over. Getting millions in the bank account straight away will appeal to a lot of players, as it should. Then there is the draft capital both in the national draft and mini draft. Now there will be 2 17-year-old mini drafts over the first 2 seasons of the Devils' existence. Each draft will have 2 selections, so that's 4 in total. Now Tasmania will have to trade all 4 of these picks. The 17-year-olds will not be eligible to play AFL when they are selected, so clubs wanting to feature in these 2 drafts will have to keep that in mind. But there is opportunity for all the clubs, if they have a player they really like in their under 17 year, to pay up to the Devils to get in early. The 2 mini drafts we have had in history were with the Giants and Suns in 2011 and 2012, which saw Jesse Hogan, Brad Crouch, Jaeger O'Meara and Jack Martin picked up. It will be interesting to see how the mini draft pans out, and especially in 2027, where the Devils will hold lots of top picks in that season's national draft. Aside from that, the Devils will also have the ability to pre-list 17-year-olds in 2026, but the AFL did not make it clear who or how many. AFL.com reads, the ability to pre-list players in their 17th year, spread across 2 years, year prior to the inaugural list build year, equals players eligible to play in the Tasmanian Devils entry year in AFL competition, and year of the inaugural list build equals players eligible to play in the Tasmania Devils second year in AFL competition. I'm sure this will be revealed as we go into next year, but let's get to those national draft picks, which is where a lot of the squad will be built from. The big difference here compared to Gold Coast and GWS is that Tassie will need to trade a lot of these selections out. The AFL statement outlines the picks. In the Tasmania Devils' first national draft, ahead of their entry year, selections 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and 13, and the first selection of each subsequent round, noting that selections 5, 7, 11 and 13 must be traded but may be rolled forward for up to 2 national drafts. The next 2 drafts following this 2027 one will see the Devils get picks 5 and 9 as well as their regular first round pick, and the caveat is they must trade pick 5 in both years, and that rollover is applied to the 2028 pick 5. In total, it's 7 first round picks that are usable on players over the 3 drafts, and keep in mind there is no ruling that the picks that must be traded can't include future first round picks that the Devils can receive themselves. But clearly, the AFL is pushing the Devils to get in ready-made players with the allocation of trading these picks. We'll get back to this later on. Now, an important part of Tasmania's prospects in the future will be with their academy. Just like the northern states have benefited hugely from developing their own talent, Tassie will have that same opportunity to blood their homegrown players. Now, it's not entirely clear how all of this will work at this stage, and like with the 17-year-olds, the club will be able to pre-list eligible academy players for their first 4 years. I'm guessing that means for the first 4 seasons, Tassie will essentially get these academy players for free and will not have to match bids that come in the national draft. After the first 4 seasons of the Devils being in the competition, this will be reviewed and depending on their academy success may stay the same or return to the model we see with the current Northern Academies who have to go through the national draft and then bidding system. Now, there were also questions surrounding father-son eligibility with Tasmania. The AFL has granted the club with father-son players if a Tasmanian played at least 100 AFL games. Again, there is no detail on whether Tasmania overrides the club the player played for, so it looks like it will be a choice, just like it is for those with father-son and club academy ties. For example, if Nick Riewold's son is good enough 10 or so years from now, he will have the choice between playing for St Kilda or Tasmania. This could change in the future, but it looks like the way the father-son ruling will go. So that's the basis of what Tasmania get. What about the other 18 clubs? Well, the AFL has still left themselves plenty of wiggle room. Now, the Devils are allowed to get one player out of contract from each club as a free agent, meaning they don't have to trade for them. In return, the clubs who lose a player will receive compensation. The overall full model is not yet clear. A bespoke compensation model designed to compensate the existing 18 clubs for any loss of talent, with that compensation provided in the form of one or more floating draft selections, whereby the recipient club may determine what year the selection falls in. This actually might help clubs. For example, if 8 teams lose one player to Tassie, then that means 8 compensation selections will be put in the one draft, obviously highly diluting it. I'm guessing this floating model will allow clubs to choose which draft their compensation lands to help spread, say, those 8 picks over 3 national drafts instead of just one. Again, if clubs can look forward enough at certain prospects, it may help them land a good young player. Now, the equality of the compensation hopefully will be clearer by this point, as the system as a whole has been questioned and still has no official matrix for everyone to see. It is still a mystery process. But away from the AFL compensation, there is an opportunity to get good deals. Those must-trade picks have all the makings of overpaying for talent, especially those players currently in the AFL that are from Tasmania. They will be the players the Devils look to poach under contract, and the sell of the go-home factor will be real to some. There is still a lot to play out to get this Tasmania team officially in the competition, but with the concessions already known before the 2026 season, there is plenty of planning time. Clubs will need it, and will be working through how they can best navigate the heavily compromised drafts that are upcoming, and actually try to win out of the inclusion of the AFL's 19th team.